In today's class, you will be able to use the rule of density to find missing mass and volume to solve problems in real world scenarios. In fact, when we talk about density, there are two types. One is material density, like what is the density of iron, what is the density of copper, those kind of questions, and another one is population density. So when it comes to material density, the rule is you see that mass per volume. That means whatever the mass of the object is given that we take, we divide it by volume. Sometimes volume is given straight away, and sometimes the volume is not given. In such case, you may have to find the volume of the object. Next, coming to the population density, these days, you know that the population is increasing rapidly, and we compute. So, based on that, how the facility, like for administrators, politicians, would they use population density to check? What kind of facilities are to be provided and how much food is required for those kind of calculations. The rule is number of people divided by area of the location. And one more thing is that, again, if we talk about the material density, if you take the density of an object, it's interesting to know that if you take a pin, then you know that if you leave it on the surface of water, it won't float, it sinks. Okay, for that matter, I'm taking, let's say that a metal object. Oh, just a moment, let me get it. Let's say that a metal object, a fork is taken. If you put on the surface of water, what happens? You know that it sinks, right? Again, if you take a big ship, though it is much, much, much bigger than a fork, why it sink? Why it doesn't sink? Because of the volume. Because of the volume. You know that the volume is too big, and the engineers designed the ship in such a way that the volume is much, much higher, so that and then it won't sink. Even at home, if you want, you can experiment that. Take a tumbler or maybe a bowl kind of thing, and if you put it on the surface of water, yes, partially it may sink into the water, but the stuff that floats on the water, you know that, right? So when you compute the density, if the density is if the density is greater than 1 gram per cubic centimeter, then for sure it sinks. But if it is less than 1 gram per centimeter cube, then that floats on the surface of water. Okay. So let's recap what we discussed in the previous session. Okay, so you learned in the previous session some questions, the same kind of questions. A metal ball has a mass of 2 kilograms. First of all, identify what is the given information. So I see that here the mass 2 kilograms. Therefore, you may list that mass is 2 kilograms and volume is 6 cubic meters. So volume equals to 6 cubic meters. What is the density? You know that density equals to density of material equals to, it is mass per volume. So what is mass means, you have to plug in here, and what is volume means, just you plug in these numbers, as simple as that. So mass is 2 kilograms and volume is 6 cubic meters. So 2 over 6, 2 and 6 both are divisible by 2, right? Therefore, 2 divided by 2, that gives me 1, and 6 divided by 2, 3. So, kilogram per 1/3 kilogram per meter cube. If you want, you can express as a decimal. You can do the division, make use of calculator. You get this one. Okay. Now, questions. Questions, please. Okay. Right. So let me go to the next one. Well, the next question is a solid is 5 centimeters tall, 3 centimeters wide, and 2 centimeters thick. It has a mass of 129 grams. What is the density? So, once again, let me write that density formula is it is mass per volume, density of material. Okay. But before that, as I mentioned, please do write the description. So a solid has 5 centimeters tall, which means the height of the solid is 5 centimeters. Next, you can consider this one as instead of height, my bad, that is actually length. So here it is length is 5 centimeters. Length is 5 centimeters. Width is 3 centimeters. Thickness I'm taking as height. It doesn't matter. Whatever the way you want, you can take it. Length, width, and height. And mass is given as 129 grams. Therefore, let me write that mass is equals to 129 grams. Okay. You know that mass goes to the numerator. Oops. Mass goes to the numerator. And volume means, do you know how to find the volume of this one? Come on, it's very easy question. Volume is length times width times height. So let me plug in these numbers, which is 5 times 3 times 2. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30 units are cubic centimeters. You know, this part, whatever the volume is there, that goes to the denominator here. Now just plug in these numbers. Mass is 129 grams and volume is 30 cubic centimeters. Then let me grab my calculator, which is 129 divided by 30. It's giving me 4.3. Therefore, density is 4.3 grams per cubic centimeter. Please remember, if you compute the density of a material, if it is less than 1 gram per cubic centimeter, then it floats on water. Whereas, if it is more than 1 gram per cubic centimeter, then it sinks into the water. Okay, so let me go to the next question. I think there is no difficulty in this question, so let me go to the next one. Let me enlarge the size, move the question. The height of a trunk is 10 meters and the base diameter is 1 meter. The wood has a density of 300 kilograms per cubic meter. Find the mass of the trunk to the nearest kilogram. This question looks slightly different. So let me draw a diagram that represents this one. The height of a tree trunk. I'm not drawing the roots and I'm not drawing the branches, just I'm taking only the trunk. Okay? And it's given that the height is given as 10 meters, Therefore, this is given as 10 meters. Base diameter. You have to be careful. Diameter is given, not the radius. Therefore, if diameter is 1 meter, immediately you find what the radius is. Obviously, radius is half of the diameter, so which is a half meter, or you can take this as 0.5, either. Okay. To make my calculations easy, I'm taking as 0.5 meters. The wood has a density of 300 kilograms per cubic meter. So let me write the details. So height of the tree trunk is 10 meters. Diameter is given as 1 meter. Therefore, as I mentioned before, immediately you compute what is the radius, which is half meter or 0.5. It's one and same. Next, density is given as 300 kilograms per cubic meter. Find the mass. So the question is, find the mass. In my previous session, I mentioned that you take a magic triangle. Simply you draw a triangle. Then take English alphabet T. It's easy to remember. Then here you write that what is the formula for the density of a material? Density equals to mass per volume, right? In case if you are asked to find what is density, there is no point taking this one again. Then just you highlight or else use your thumb and close it. You close that, then you see that mass per volume. In case you are asked to find the volume, then use your thumb, close the volume, then you see that mass per density if you are asked to find volume. If you are asked to find mass, please notice that density and volume, these two are side by side, which means don't take it as a fraction, you multiply. When they occur side by side, you multiply. So, density multiplied by volume. Therefore, here density multiplied by volume. Again, I'm repeating. How will you find? Mass means mass equals to dV. Therefore, mass equals to d times v, which represents that density multiplied by volume. What is density means? This is already given. So let me take that it is 300. And what is volume means? Here volume of a cylinder. Please look at the diagram. We have to find the volume of a cylinder. So you know that the volume of a cylinder is pi times r square times h. So 300 times pi value 3.14. Radius. Please take the radius value. I know that the majority of the students may mess up here only. Instead of radius, they may get confused and they may take diameter as 1. But instead, you are expected to take the radius. What is the height of the trunk means? You see that it is given as 10 meters. So let me plug in. Now, let me take my calculator. It is 300 times 3.14, which is the value of pi, radius square, which is 0.5 square, multiplied by height is 10. So, I got 2355. 2355. Always you have to write what are the units. What is this 2355? Is it pounds? Is it kilograms? Is it meters? Is it yards? So, first of all, you have to read carefully what the question is. Then I see that the density is given as kilograms per cubic meters, and we are trying to find the mass. Therefore, I go with these units, which is kilograms. Okay? Therefore, mass is 2355 kilograms. So that is the mass of the trunk of this tree. Okay? Questions? Well, let's go to the next question now. Here, actually, this is one of the confusing question. I'll do one thing. I'll go to the next one, then I'll come back to this question. Okay? Actually, both are one and same, the previous question and this one. So let me take this one. Is it going out of the bottle? Okay. So a rectangular block of copper metal weighs 1896 grams. The dimensions of the block are 8.4 centimeters by 5.5 centimeters by 4.6. So let me copy the information first. That is the dimensions of the block, length, width. Otherwise, let me take straight away. Oops, my bad. Okay, my apologies. Let me put it back here. Oh, I'm sorry. My stylus fell down. So the dimensions of the block are 8.4 centimeters by 5.5 centimeters by 4.6 centimeters. You know how to find the volume. Therefore, straight away I am taking a volume, which is length times width times height. Now let me plug in these values on my calculator, which is 8.4 times 5.5 times 4.6, 212.52. 212.52 cubic centimeters. Next, mass is given as 1896 grams. The question is, what is the density? As you know that density equals to mass per volume. Mass per volume. So, you know what to do. The mass is to be plugged in here, and the volume is to be plugged in here. Therefore, 1896 grams goes to the numerator. Denominator is 212.52 cubic centimeters. So let me take my calculator. 1896 divided by 212.52, then it is 8.921. 8.92151. Actually, whatever the answer you got, this one is correct only, but the question says that you are asked to express the answer in terms of, please see that express the answer in kilograms per cubic meters. Please see that kilograms per cubic meter, but you got the answer in grams per cubic centimeters. First of all, do you know, let me do this part separately. 8.92151 grams per cubic centimeter, which means 8.92151, listen carefully, gram over centimeter cube. listen carefully. Centimeter cube means it is a centimeter times centimeter times centimeter. That's what centimeter cube is. Do you know how many grams are there in a kilogram? Why we are talking about kilogram means because the units are kilograms per cubic meter. So there are 1,000 grams in a kilogram. Therefore, you have to take this way in order to convert to kilograms. Now, how many centimeters are there in a meter? How many centimeters are there in a meter means there are 100 centimeters. Therefore, there are 100 centimeters. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. There are 100 centimeters in a meter. Then you will get the answer in cubic meters. You know, all these things you have to take on a calculator and computer. It looks crazy, but it is not so difficult. It is 8.92151 over 1000. You know, while dividing, we take the reciprocal. 1 over 100 changes to 100 over 1, 100 over 1, 100 over 1. So you can strike 3 zeros in the denominator, 3 zeros in the numerator. Then when you do the multiplication using your calculator, then 1, 2, 3. So it is 8921.51 kilograms per cubic meter. You may get a doubt, what do I have to do all these calculations means? My answer is no, you need not do all these calculations. You need not do all these calculations. There is a smart way to get the answer. There is a smart way. Simply, if you want to convert from grams per cubic centimeters to kilograms per, if you want to compute in kilograms to meter cube, just simply multiply whatever the answer you got by 1000. I repeat, whatever the answer you got, if it is in grams per cubic centimeters, and if you want to express kilograms per cubic meters, simply multiply by 1000, you get the answer. As simple as that. So you can make use of calculator, or else, you know, when a decimal number is multiplied by 1000, which means 1000 contains 3 zeros, therefore the decimal should move to right side by 3 places. You know, then the answer is 8921.51 kilograms per cubic meter. Once again, I am repeating that whether do you have to compute all these things means not required. Just it is only explanation how to convert from grams per cubic centimeter to kilograms per meter cube. But this is not necessary. Instead of this one, remember that if you want to convert grams per cubic centimeter to kilograms per meter cube or cubic meters, what to do is you have to multiply by 1000. You have to multiply by 1000. Okay. Any questions on this? Well, so I skipped one question in the previous page. So let's go to that question. This is same as the previous one. A pool is in the shape of a rectangular prism. Okay, length is given, width is given, depth is given. Depth and height. You know, if you are standing and if you are looking this way, and that gives you the idea of height. And if you are standing near the pool and if you are looking down, that gives you the idea of the depth. So these two are technically one and same. So what is volume of the pool means? That is length times width times height. Now let me plug in these values. Length is 6 meters, width is 3 meters, and height is 1 meter. So here 6 3s are 18, 18 times 1 is 18 cubic meters. That's the volume. Next, here the density of water, the density of water is given that 1 gram per cubic centimeter, 1 gram per cubic centimeter. Please notice that we have the volume in cubic meters, and here this one is cubic centimeters. They are not the same. And also find the number of kilograms of water in the pool. Find the water in the pool. So, in our formula, let me draw my magic triangle once again. Let me put an English alphabet T here, and then let me write the formula. Density equals to mass per volume. I see that volume is given and density is given. So what is missing means I see that again mass is missing. So you are asked to find what is the mass. That's the question is, right? Therefore, what is the mass? Mass of water. Okay. So already I mentioned that you may make use of your thumb and you can hide whatever the letter is there on this one. And don't get confused how I got this magic triangle means simply density equals to mass per volume that I copied in that. Now, what is mass means? So D and V, they are occurring side by side, which means I have to multiply them. Therefore, mass equals to density multiplied by volume. What is density means? Here is the tricky part. Can I take this one here means the answer is no. Because the units, please notice that here cubic meters and here cubic centimeters, the units are not the same. Then what to do means you have to convert this one into kilograms per cubic meters. Already I told you that if you want to convert grams per cubic centimeters, if you want to convert into kilograms per cubic meters, simply multiply with 1000. So what I get is, again I'm repeating, just multiplied by 1000. So 1 time 1000, I get that 1000 kilograms per cubic meters. Now I see that the units are in cubic meters. Therefore, here also I have cubic meters. Then I can go ahead and compute. Now, what is the density means? What is the density means? The density is just now I got that this one is 1000 kilograms per cubic meter. Therefore, let me take 1000 here. What is the volume means? You see that volume is 18. So, that is to be plugged in here. 1000 times 18, that gives me 18,000. By the way, we are computing mass and these many kilograms. So that is the mass of the water. Okay. Questions, please. Questions, please. Well, so please remember that whatever the formula you want. If you want to find mass, just hide it using your thumb, then you get the formula. If you want volume, just hide it using your hand or thumb, then you get what's the formula rule, that is mass per density. Okay, so let's quickly jump to the next page. Okay. Okay. A tree harvester estimates the height of a white pine trunk to have a height of about 22 meters and base diameter of about 0.75 meters. The wood has a density of 425 kilograms per cubic meter. Find the mass of the trunk to the nearest kilogram. Already this kind of question I explained, therefore I would like to skip this one. You may draw the trunk, and you may draw what is the diameter, etc. I see that diameter is given, therefore you are expected to find the radius, which is half of the diameter, which means 0.75 over 2. Please make use of calculator in order to get what the radius is exactly. And I see that height is 22 meters. And next, so you know radius and height, so then you can find the volume using pi r square h. And next, the density is given. So if you know the density and volume, then you can find the mass using the magic triangle. Okay. So let me take the next question. So let me skip this question because I already taught this model. Let's go to the next one. The population density of Blue Gap is 33.5 navajos per acre. Exactly. So here I see that the population density is given. The population density is given as 33.5. So let me write that density is 33.5. You know why politicians and the other administrators, they compute the population density? If they know what is the population, based on that they can provide the facilities. Exactly 650 Navajos live in Blue Gap. Okay, so here what is the population means? The population is given as 650 Navajos. How many acres is Blue Gap? So how many acres means the question is about the area. Please remember, here the population density, if you are taking, the rule is it is almost similar to the density, that is mass per volume, but instead of mass per volume here we take that density, population density equals to number of people over area, this part you have to remember. Okay, therefore let me write that we are trying to figure out what is the area, therefore let me strike this one. So it is area equals to number over density, right? Therefore let me write that area equals to, if I strike this one, n over d, that is number of people over, again I'm repeating, I see that there is a fraction n over d, the same thing I'm writing here, density. Now just plug in the numbers. What is the number of people means, you see that that goes to numerator and density goes to the denominator, therefore 650 over 33.5. Just make use of your calculator. 650 divided by 33.5, 19.40. It is 19.40. This is the area. You see that it's mentioned that 33 per acre. Therefore, these many acres. This may not be actual number. Just some numbers are taken in order to create the question. Okay. Any questions on this? Well, last question for the session is, you find a ring with mass 107 grams. So mass is given, well, and you fill a graduated cylinder up to 10 milliliters of water and put the ring into the cylinder. The water rises up to 15 ml. Okay, right. What the ring is made of. In fact, this is a challenging question because you take a vessel that contains some not liquid, some water in it. That is 10 milliliters. This is 10 milliliters. Next, when this ring is dropped into this one, the water level is increased. The water level is increased from 10 to 15. It is increased from 10 to 15. Therefore, can you guess what quantity of water is increased? What quantity of water is increased means, the difference of these two we take, therefore, 5 milliliters of water is increased. Very simple calculation. 5 milliliters of water is increased. So, because of the ring, I repeat, when the ring is dropped into this one, even it's a quite common experience when you're cooking at home, when you put some lentils or something in water, what happens is the water level rises, right? In the same way, here, when the ring is dropped into the vessel, then it is increased from 10 to 15. Therefore, I can say that because of the ring, the water level is increased. The water level is increased by 5 ml or 5 milliliters, right? Therefore, here, first of all, let's find the density. You know that density equals to mass per volume. So what is the mass means? It's given that 107 grams. And what is the volume means? Just now we found that it is 5. Please, 10 to 15 it is increased. Therefore, 5 milliliters. Now grab your calculator. It is 107 divided by 5. That's giving me 21.4 grams per milliliter. Now, I have to check, is it matching with this one? Okay, 21.4. I see that 21.4 is here. Therefore, oh my God, this is going to be platinum. Just assume that you are digging in the land, then you found a ring. You don't know what the ring is made of. Is it gold, silver, or platinum? You don't know. So once when you find the density, then the list is given. Then you check it, then you understand what kind of material is this one. Okay, that's it from me for this session. If you have any questions, please send an email. Then I'll reply back with the answers. Okay, then see you in the next session. Bye. Have a good afternoon, good evening, good night. Bye-bye.